Welcome back. We're back in the cockpit. It's been a couple months.
It's been 2. It's normally always 2. That's kind of how that works. We take October off, and then we pick back up on November. We don't even take October off. We just don't do it in the cockpit.
Yeah, we just do honestly, probably a better show. It does better numbers typically.
Does it? I don't pay attention to those.
Yeah, it typically has higher downloads, which, fair. I also prefer doing that to typical in the cockpit stuff. Why don't we do that every month? We could do that every month.
We would quickly run out of good short-form content on the internet.
Oh, I mean, TikTok exists. We could just farm TikTok.
I said good.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, actually, I really do like the in the cockpit stuff too. I feel like it grounds us.
True, and it's honestly a lot less editing, which makes it better. On our end.
Okay, I don't think that correlates to better in general.
Yeah, no. It just makes it better on our end.
But
so I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. It's been like 2 months, right?
I guess I have a little bit to talk about. Have you heard of this show called Glee?
I don't think I have.
I think it ended in 2014, which feels like it went on way too long, or 2015.
Okay, yeah, definitely way too long.
It's a show from Fox.
Okay.
Produced, sometimes directed by, sometimes written by Ryan Murphy, who is now way more famous for his insanely successful franchise, American Horror Story.
Okay, so I've already realized I don't know what you're talking about. Because when you said by Fox, I thought you were talking about it's produced by the fantastic Mr. Fox.
No. Fox, the corporate entity that continually perpetuates fake news via their news channels.
Yeah.
That Fox. So I've been watching Glee. I'm on the last season. I have like 6 episodes left. I would have finished it last weekend, but I was very sick last weekend. But it's about a Glee club, which is very similar to
A choir
or
an acapella group.
Acapella, that's the word I was looking for. Except Glee clubs don't have to do things acapella. Some Glee clubs do acapella.
Yeah, there's a lot less stringent rules. It's more of freeform show choir meets acapella.
Yeah, it's show choir. It's dance and singing. Glee is a cool concept, except its origins are not cool. Like, the actual Glee is not cool origins. It's basically like the same reason why Kellogg's cereal exists.
Yeah.
But as far as like competitive arts Glee is cool. I love competitive arts.
Competitive art things are fantastic.
We were both marching band geeks. Like,
maybe you were.
Competitive arts is like the pinnacle. Like, because art is very entertaining to begin with. That's the purpose. That's not the purpose of art. It's one of the many facets of art. Is its entertainment value. Additionally, making it a competition requires the art to be like continually pushed to the next level.
Yeah.
So a show based on that is really cool. Also, because the show existed is how it got like Pitch Perfect and stuff. Like, those movies wouldn't have like got the renaissance that they did without Glee pushing that envelope. Because Glee was insanely popular.
Like, arguably way too popular.
Like, the cast from the show went on live national tours, selling out stadiums, singing covers of songs that they performed on the show. Popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like the reason why like Pentatonics ever got popular.
Yeah, like acapella rode Glee success
so hard.
The show is not good. I would never suggest it to anybody ever, because it's very like teenage drama and boring, and like the show. Okay, so it's not specifically boring. It's just cheesy and cringe.
It's all the bad parts you can think of from every CW drama ever set to music.
Yeah, exactly. I've enjoyed it very, very much because it in some way captures the feeling of performing arts.
Okay.
In a very realistic way, despite the show being very unrealistic.
Like the movie Drumline.
Yeah, kind of. It's like they took real performing arts groups, real high school performing arts groups, and then took the saturation and just maxed it out.
Yeah.
Everything is just a little more than it should be. Actually, a lot more than it should be. But contextually, the only thing I really want to talk about with Glee is that there are 2 episodes in the show that are just fucking insane.
Only 2?
I mean...
Or is it just fucking insane in comparison to the rest of the show?
That, okay. Exactly. So the first one I want to talk about is the only Glee episode where they don't perform a single song.
Boo.
And the show starts off normal. The Glee Club is in the choir room, and the teacher is like getting ready to start a lesson for them. And then gunshots.
Oh, yeah, the active shooter one.
Yeah, it's an insane fucking episode.
I remember you telling me about it when it happened. When you were watching it.
Yeah, because, like, the show is about music and, like...
Also, do you know how many great songs you could have fit in there? Like, dude, we could have gone with the classic, like, Janie's Got a Gun.
The fact that Foster the People's Pumped Up Kicks
wasn't, like,
was not in that episode is a crime against humanity.
Like, you could have Pumped Up Kicks, Janie's Got a Gun. Like, you had a pretty decent diaspora.
PODs, Youth of the Nation, like,
yeah, fuck. You could also, I mean,
that would
maybe a bit too far, but you could do the classic drowning pools bodies.
Like, that would
And
require
you could do it even without the context of anyone actually getting shot.
Yeah.
It could be in response to, active shooter, well, everybody on the floor, so let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, well, I think, like, Foster the People and Janie's got a gun and
Yeah,
stuff.
those fit more with the thematic story if you're trying to tell a certain story there.
You would have had to, like, not be a bitch about it and, like, actually had an active shooter, but the entire story deflates itself when we find out later that it was an accidental gun going off and, like...
Boo.
Yeah, there was no active shooter.
Look, if you're going to do an after-school special, have the balls to do the after-school special.
Exactly, and they didn't.
It's like the fucking Full House episode where they're just addicted to caffeine pills. Make them addicted to drugs.
Honestly, would have been a great time to, like, help kind of, like, cleanse the roster of characters.
Yeah, that show balloons horribly from my understanding.
It does. Yeah, so that episode is fucking wild. Another episode that is wild is the one in tribute to the character Finn. I'm forgetting his actor's name, but
Isn't it Corey something or other?
Yeah, Corey...
Look, you see Corey, my brain wants to supply you with the Corys from, like, the 80s and 90s, and I'm going to throw it out there.
Corey Montauk, that's his name.
I was about to say, I'm going to throw it out there. He's not in Lost Boys, so I don't know his last name.
Corey Montauk. Corey Montauk's character... Finn. Just kind of disappears from the show for like 6 episodes because he wasn't in the back half of one season and then he's not in the next season because between seasons he died of a heroin overdose. Tragic. He was also dating his co-star Leah Michele. They were engaged. Super tragic for her in real life.
Yep.
So episode 3 or 4 of the next season is a tribute to him. And as far as like tribute episodes go, it is motherfucking heartbreaking because they perform all of Corey, not Finn's, favorite songs in that episode.
Oh.
And apparently it was so heartbreaking that most of the cast couldn't do more than one take. So like it's legitimate raw emotion.
Yeah, that would... I can understand that one being like crazy to watch in like a emotional manner, and it had to be like honestly almost hell to produce that episode as far as like anyone actively working on set.
And the wild part for me, it's almost humorous. I'm saying almost. The people who have to give the biggest performances for Corey's death in the show are people who are on screen with him less than like 5 or 6 times throughout the entire series, and that's the people that play his parents, his dad and stepmom. Like, they spent the least amount of time with him in real life, but have to give the biggest performances in the show because they're his parents. Leah also has to give a really big performance for it because in the show they're off again, on again, boyfriend, girlfriend. Yeah. And like
in the show we're engaged at one point or another.
Yeah. So her too, but like her performance is obviously very genuine to her. Yeah. She gets a tattoo with Finn's name on her ribcage, which she got in real life. They wrote it into a plot point of an episode of a show, and she wears a necklace with Finn's name on it for the rest of the show, which is also a necklace that Leah Michele actively wore for a really long time. I don't know if she still wears it.
I can't say it. That feels too far.
What? Please say it.
It sucks that she can't read it. Like, for all she knows, it doesn't even say Finn. It's just like getting a tattoo in Cantonese and being like, it means dream. And it doesn't. It's like egg roll or some shit.
So what Justice is referencing here is there's a very wide conspiracy that Leah Michele can't read.
Conspiracy for the most part, but yeah.
There's some pretty solid evidence behind Leah Michele can't read.
There's some pretty good proof.
She's never going to live it down.
Yeah, no.
That's the point where it's at.
I didn't want to say it, but it was too perfect.
It was great. So I'm almost done with that. The second to last season is really weird because it's called Glee. The show is about the Glee Club that Mr. Schuster, the teacher, puts together and runs. Mm-hmm. The entire, I think, 5th season, the second to last season,
does not involve the Glee Club?
Has nothing to do with the Glee Club. It's former Glee Club kids living in New York. That's the entire 5th season.
Yeah, that feels incorrect.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's Glee. I got back into it because a friend of ours is doing a podcast with a decently famous YouTuber / Twitch streamer.
Yep.
The podcast is called Binge and Cringe,
in which they are binging and cringing at Glee.
Indeed. You want to find them? It's on YouTube. Binge and Cringe. It's Stans.
Yep.
He's a fairly famous streamer. Not like most famous, but still pretty famous.
If you recognize the name but aren't sure about it in passing, you're probably aware of him if you know Ludwig, because he's a good friend with Ludwig.
And then our friend in question is Kance. He's been on this show twice, I think.
2 or 3 times, actually.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times. So, check it out. Binge and Cringe is really good. It's what got me to go watch all of Glee, which cancels like, you're not supposed to watch it all of it. You're supposed to watch it with us week by week. And I'm like, I can't do that. It's all available.
They on their Patreon for $5, you'll have access to a commentary track that they run.
Yeah, which you can watch along with the episodes.
Yeah, and the neat thing is they have a plugin that you can install, which sadly only works with Disney
Plus and Hulu.
I didn't realize it worked with Hulu, but makes sense. And it will actively pick up with wherever their commentary track is with wherever you are in the show, and you can adjust their audio level compared to the show separately.
Exactly.
It's really, really neat. And I think it was earlier today for me, so yesterday now, Kance was on his Twitch and he was binging through a watch along with some viewers of the One Piece anime.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And he was doing episodes forever, like goals of how many people they had subbed on their Patreon for Binge and Cringe, which was neat.
That is very cool. I think they're up to halfway through season 1, almost to the end of season 1, it looks like. And my plan is, I haven't listened to the watch along tracks. I've been keeping up with the like post and pre content they do.
Yep.
From watching the episode, because they'll do a segment before they watch the episode, then they'll do the watch along tracks, which you have to be on the Patreon to access, and then they'll do their takes after the episode.
Yep. So there is content if you don't want to or cannot afford to support them on Patreon.
And I've been keeping up with that weekly. But my plan is to finish the entire series and then go back and start a rewatch with the Binge and Cringe audio.
That way you have cemented your takes on it, and then you can hear their takes on it.
100%.
Fair.
I really, as much as we do a review show, I hate like getting reviews in my head before experiencing the content most of the time. Sometimes reviews will like drive me to like go seek the media out because like the reviewers will be like, oh, like it was good in this way or bad in this way, or like they'll say something was bad and I'll be like, I thought that sounded really cool.
Well, that's part of the reason why I like the fact that we only do 2 episodes. We only have such a small look into the media that it's like you could tell like, oh, they said some of these things I don't like, but there's also some really good points, and I thought the idea sounded cool to begin with anyway, so I can probably work my way through those, and like it's nice. I personally find it nice to sometimes know like what I would struggle with to do something or watch something.
Yeah.
But know like there are good points that I know I would enjoy, so it kind of help me push through it.
Yeah, like honestly, that's...
And the inverse is also true. Like if I know something sounds kind of bad, but you tell me there's some really good shit in there, and the idea I was like kind of already on the fence about, I'm more likely to watch it then.
100%. We reviewed a show called First Bite, which, well, I didn't personally like it. I don't remember if you didn't like it. I thought you were like kind of mid.
I was kind of mid on it, and it took me a moment to remember what you were even talking about, because it was kind of mid.
But the entire show, the show has a massive fan base, and like was really like cherished. Unfortunately, it's not getting another season because Netflix cancels everything.
Yeah, like I personally, I thought it sounded like my my cup of tea.
CW Sapphic Vampire Love Story.
Hell yeah, that sounds like something I would enjoy.
It's honestly right in my wheelhouse. But I just didn't enjoy that take on it. So, but like in some ways, System Mastery, not Movie Mastery, because I listen to Movie Mastery because they review movies I will never watch.
Yeah, for the most part. And sometimes they'll review a movie I have watched and I'll be like, huh, neat.
But System Mastery is super beneficial for me because I'm never reading all those RPG books.
God, no.
But sometimes they'll hit when I'll be like,
that sounds super interesting.
Find it on Amazon, find it on DriveThru.
And there have been shit they have dragged. I've just been like, nah, sounds cool. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go find this later.
Oh, they dragged the fuck out of Star Thugs.
Yeah.
And I immediately bought a copy. I was like, oh, this game sounds terrible, but it sounds like it has cool stuff to like pluck out of it.
Yeah, and also it sounds like a dumb thing to own.
Also, it also could be pronounced Start Hugs because they compounded it into one word on the title.
Yeah, it looks.
So, Start Hugs, the role-playing game.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with Glee. Other than that, it's just been wrestled for me. Kitchen Nightmares came back, and I'm a Gordon stan, so...
True. I mean, Kitchen Nightmares is pretty good. It's better than Hotel Nightmares.
Hotel Nightmares, I think I enjoyed Hotel Nightmares sometimes more than I enjoy Kitchen Nightmares because Kitchen Nightmares is very formulaic.
Yeah.
But Hotel Nightmares, Gordon should not have been the one hosting that.
Yeah, he feels out of his depth there. Like, I'm fine with him being there, but I think it would have been better with a team.
So I have one more topic that I could deep dive into. But Justice, do you have things? Because I think you have things.
I haven't played anything new. I haven't really watched anything new.
Speaking of playing things new, I did buy Resident Evil 4, the remake.
Yeah.
I just haven't started it yet. So,
I wasn't aware you even bought it.
Yeah, I bought it because we were listening to the Resident Evil soundtrack at work a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And not the movie soundtrack, but like the video game soundtrack. So I was like, oh god, I want to play Resident Evil.
But yeah, I haven't really read anything new or watched anything new, played anything new.
I mean, fair.
Those are the general things I cover most of the time. I mean, I guess I went to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween.
And I saw the ocean for the first time, rode a train for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, just small things.
I mean, people use trains all the time. People live by the ocean all over the world. Like, it's...
You went to the Satanic Temple.
I did. That was neat. I saw a lot of Salvador Dali paintings. Like,
So-
arguably more Salvador Dali paintings than makes sense.
How did the Salvador Dali's end up in the museum, in the temple?
I don't know. I assume they just mobbed them because, like, they just have a bunch. But, yeah, so I went with my sister and brother-in-law to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween. My sister really, really wanted to. They had some people they were going to go with who backed down there. They're like, hey! So I was like, sure, why not?
They offered me to, but unfortunately, work and vacation time.
Yeah. And like Josh said, I saw the ocean for the first time. It's a lot of water in it.
It's a big lake.
I can't swim. It's going to kill me. It's fine.
I've seen Lake Michigan, and you can't see the shore
Yeah.
from the other side, so it's basically the same
I mean,
thing.
if I look downriver, I can't see the end of the river either. Like when I'm looking at the Ohio, so lots of water. I mean, it was nice, but like the ocean didn't do a lot for me. It was neat, but honestly, like some of the mountains were a bit cooler, and even then, like on the way there, that area of the Catskills kind of trash. On the way back, a bit better, like, but even then, not great. I'm not a huge fan of the views. Like, maybe if I'd been actively experiencing the nature, it would have been better. But
Yeah.
just driving past or just looking at it, not the same.
Fair enough.
Trains, always knew I liked them. Turns out I do like them. I mean, I assume I would hate subways or areas filled with people or
Fair
horribly unsanitary trains.
Subways are all the benefits of trains as far as transportation goes, with none of the aesthetics of trains.
Yeah, like, I had some cool ocean view on the train I was on, so no problems.
How shaky was it? Because I've never been on a train myself.
Not super bad, though there is a bit of enjoyment, in my opinion, of sitting far enough in the train car that you can see the train car in front of you, and you can see where that connection is and watch as the door frame of the other area dips in and out. Pointing it out to my sister, she didn't seem too pleased with the idea. It was great. I enjoyed it. But Salem itself was pretty cool. I mean, lots of old buildings.
You know what really freaked our sister out? Is if in the middle of a train ride, you'd have been like, hey, do you remember those train derailments earlier this year in Ohio?
I should have,
like,
yeah. I didn't think about it. But, like, a lot of actually going around Salem was just, like, looking at some old buildings and stuff, and then just wandering around to look at witchy stuff, which, not my cup of tea, particularly. Enjoyable. Very nice old city with some, like, I very much enjoyed the streets, except for the fact that a lot of the cobblestone and brick was really worn away, so it was a trip hazard in some areas. But you did mention the Satanic Temple.
Yes. For our listeners, if you're unaware, I am a member of the Satanic Temple. I just have never been able to make the pilgrimage myself.
It's very neat. Very aesthetically pleasing. And they have an area where they do an active gallery of current artists, whether they're local or not, but generally a not very well-known, currently living artist. And then they have a small little gallery of stuff that they own. And I'd say, like, maybe 33% of the stuff that they just own permanently there on display are Salvador Dali paintings.
I have to assume somebody involved in the founding of the temple just had, like, a massive private collection.
Maybe, but I also wouldn't call it massive because it's like one room of paintings for that area.
Considering how many paintings Dali did, it's still a pretty massive
it's a pretty good chunk of Dali paintings, but I wouldn't say it's a massive like collection.
Fair enough.
I would say it's a sizable Dali collection.
Fair enough.
And then the current gallery that they had on display was a guy who's done concept and comic book work, and his stuff was also great. And then upstairs, they have a little library, which I didn't get to spend too much time in, unfortunately, because it was rainy, it was wet. The Satanic Temple's a bit out of the way of, like, old Salem town. Well, Salem Village, I guess, I think is the area that's technically would be the majority of Salem stuff happens.
Yeah.
But it's a bit out of the way from there, like a 20-minute walk. And it was wet and rainy when we went, so no one was particularly happy at that point in the day.
I don't know. I think if you're going to New England in the fall like that, you need to, like, expect...
I mean, we all did. We had umbrellas, we had ponchos, we had weatherproof shoes and things. Water just found its way in. So, like, by the time we got there, we had water in our shoes, socks were wet. It was just an uncomfortable time. And there were some weird, like, crossing the street bits that, like, New England streets are very different from Midwest streets. And so things were just annoying, kind of. So, but overall, the Satanic Temple was great.
You mean in the way that they don't have stop signs? And
there were so few stop signs, and, like, right of way was kind of unclear in some areas. We didn't drive a lot. But, like, and the few times we did, it was just weird. And then trying to figure out if a car was going to keep going or not when you're trying to, like, jaywalk.
Well, the secret about cars and jaywalking
Yeah, you just go anyways, exactly. That works for me. It does not work with the two people who are accompanying me who do not seem to embrace that idea of, fuck it, if the car hits me, I win this suit. They do not seem to go with it.
Yeah, like, the easy solution is, well, I'm walking here.
Yeah. And then, as far as the actual rest of the time in Salem, we went to some good food places. Honestly, the best part of my opinion was actually, like, on Halloween, just seeing a bunch of people dressed up like you would at an anime convention or Gen Con or whatever. There were a lot of people in costumes. It'd be more like going to a horror con, I assume, though, because everyone was obviously in the more Halloween costume, so horror or such like that.
Because, like, Salem is just a massive Halloween party on the 31st, right? Like, the town of, like, that's what it sells itself on that time.
That area of it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, there is an entire, like, courtyard area, like, little, I would want to say park, but there's not, like, it's really just an open field area with, like, a small little rotunda built up where people can perform. But, like, entire area is apparently, like, filled up. We left a bit early on Halloween night because the last train, was pretty close after fireworks. We didn't want to deal with all that shit.
Fair enough.
And also, we'd seen everything we wanted to, and we've seen fireworks before, so oh no.
Oh, you've seen fireworks before?
I've seen fireworks before, yeah.
I can't imagine. I've never seen fireworks in my life.
Yeah.
So other than Salem, you guys also did the Lizzie Borden house and Gettysburg, right?
Yeah.
That's everything else?
Yeah, well, it's the Lizzie Borden house. It's a house. It's pretty neat, like, historically. It has a bunch of information about things.
You see, this woman, she chopped her father and mother up with an axe.
Yeah. I believe it was the first American crime scene that had photos taken as evidence. And then, if I'm correct on that, I believe the next fact is also true, that it's just the second crime to ever have photos taken of the crime scene, with the first being Jack the Ripper cases.
That's insane. That's actually wild.
Yeah, so they had, like, some copies of the photos of her father, and that man did not have a face left, like, at all.
Well, that's what happens when you get hit with an axe 26 times, I think.
No, it's not that bad. It wasn't that many times. I don't remember how many it was, but it's nowhere near, like, the reported.
I know the rhyme is 40 and 41, but I know that's like
nowhere near correct.
Yeah. That rhyme is just complete bollocks.
Yeah, which, if I remember correctly, her father actually got hit less with the axe than her mother did, which the rhyme inherently gets wrong on that point anyways. But it had some neat history. It had, like, some old clothes from Lizzie Borden. It had recreations of her parents' skulls. It had the pictures of the original axe tool, because it was a handleless axe that she used, apparently.
So not even like a full axe.
No, it was more like an axe head, or, like, a little bit off of it. And, like, it was neat, but no ghosts or anything. Like, the fucking room we stayed in, the main light fixture had smart bulbs in it that they decided to fucking trigger at, like, midnight. They supposedly had free Wi-Fi that I couldn't connect to for the majority of the day when they were running tours and stuff, but when all of that ended up dying out, I suddenly had internet connection, almost as if the data wasn't being eaten up, and, you know, I don't know why that would be.
Her mother was hit 18 times with an axe or axe-like weapon, and her father was struck 10 or 11.
Yeah, and it was, like, less than 20 on both accounts. So, like, it was neat from an historical standpoint. No ghosts or anything, which I don't believe in that shit anyways.
Yeah,
like,
you're the, like, perpetual denier of the supernatural in our friend group and our family group, so...
It's because it's not real.
I mean, you can't prove it, though.
It's not on me to prove. It's on everyone else to prove. It's burden of proof is on the person who's making claims.
I've seen some weird shit that I can't explain. I don't have proof that, like, it wasn't...
You also don't have proof to relay to me that that experience is true and not something that you've imagined, because you were in a situation that allows for that to be something for you to experience.
Multiple eyewitness accounts. I also have video evidence of one, so...
Yeah, but, like, And then we went to Gettysburg, which was neat. We did a car tour around Gettysburg. We stayed at a fairly nice Airbnb. It was neat. Ran into a school field trip. That was a bad time.
I can imagine.
I hate children.
Yeah, mostly.
As a child, I always used to think, one, I hated those activities that they would force us to do.
Like the scavenger hunt things?
Yeah, I was like, oh, find something mentioning this or whatever. I always hated that because, one, it was way more involved than I wanted to do and didn't let me focus on the neat things that may actually exist at a location.
And also because even though teachers and chaperones are always like, don't run, you made it a contest.
People are running, they're getting in the way, they're being rude. And as a kid, I was just like, this has to suck for everyone else here.
Yeah.
And then as an adult, that fact was proved to me because it sucked for me and everyone else there who wasn't them. We were walking up this memorial that they have to mark the end of it. And there is a very narrow spiral staircase up.
Yeah.
Pretty steep, too. And there's this old guy behind us, trudging his way up, getting a bit hard towards the top. He's like, we're almost there. There's a few more steps. And then these kids just come tearing down from the top. And I thought for certain they were going to knock this old man down these stairs. Because they did not give a fuck.
Me neither. As a child, fuck that old man.
Like, so fucking rude, man. But other than that, Gettysburg was nice. Saw some neat monuments. Took a pretty nice, like, 40-minute hike through some woods, and then longer through some other woods.
Just to, going back to that old man for a second. In the words of Sum 41, you don't know us at all. We laugh when old people fall. What would you expect with a conscience so small? Yeah, 100% children, old people, fuck them. But also, how was the walk? I know you said you guys ended up almost going to a place that was completely restricted.
Yeah, so we went to the Devil's Knot, I think is the name of it, which is an area that they had apparently just finished like renovating or touching up, really, and which was just an area where the Confederate and the Union fought. The Confederate set up snipers in this little like stone area formed from some volcanic rocks in the area, so had some really good sharpshooter nests naturally there. So they fought there. Lots of people died. Supposedly the really stream, but they call it a bloody river, happened. So a lot of blood, enough to turn the water red, whatever. But there's an area across from that heads up to Little Round Top, another fairly important area of the battle.
Yeah, I remember hearing about Round Top when I was learning about Gettysburg.
I mean, there's Little Round Top and there's Big Round Top, but they're like right next to each other. It serves the same purpose during the battle. But so Little Round Top was closed off, but we found a trail that was like right across from it that was not blocked or anything. So we just started walking up that, and we'd gone pretty far, and we kept walking, and finally came to a fence that looked like no one had been around it in quite a while. Like the fence had leaves piled up against it. This entire road we'd walked down, it was covered in leaves. You couldn't see the road. And, like, I'm pretty sure if we'd just been like, fuck it, and stepped off the trail and just walked farther down, we could have gotten around the fence. But that felt like a bad idea, because technically, I think that can be considered a federal crime, because it's a national park, with a restricted area, like...
No, hold on.
I think it's trespassing upon federal grounds at that point, because it's posted that you're not supposed to be there.
I don't know if it's a federal crime, because I remember the murder loophole requires the fact that it would happen on another state's property, but it couldn't be tried by...
Yeah, but that is that state's property. It is, like, there's no loophole there.
That's what I'm saying, because
it has complete oversight.
The murder loophole wouldn't exist if that was a federal crime. So I don't think the trespassing would be federal crime. I think it would still just be...
maybe. I mean, it's also possible they could trump it up to it. It's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
But also, it seemed like way more walking on, like, ground that's not well kept. There's not even, like, there weren't even, like, the faintest deer trails or anything. So,
Also, you saw Pilgrim's Rock. How was the Rock?
Yeah, Plymouth Rock.
Plymouth Rock, my bad. How was the Rock? How was Plymouth? How was the Mayflower recreation?
When we got done with Salem, we were headed to Fall River, just on the other side of Boston, to Lizzie Boarding House, but it has late check-ins and early check-outs. That way they can do tours during the day. And
so they can set up the spooky stuff.
Yeah, basically. Also, they have cameras in, like, every main room you can go to in all the common spaces, and the lights automatically turn on and off.
Yeah.
And supposedly people have been in the room, even though people have moved, the lights have been turned off. Oh no, so scary. Or sometimes they won't turn on. Oh no, so scary. There's a fucking camera watching you, and they clearly have things connected to Wi-Fi and smart bulbs. Whatever. I'm annoyed with them, but whatever.
Look, they're just trying to make some money. They can't live off that supernatural fan hype forever.
They bought it for $2 million fucking dollars. They didn't need to do that. They had the money. Fuck Ghost Adventures. It's literally
it's
bought
owned by
by
Ghost
U.S.
Adventures.
Ghost Adventures.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Fuck them. They don't need it.
They can't live off that supernatural fan hype forever. It was in one episode of Supernatural.
So we got to Fall River and we were looking for stuff to do, and there wasn't really anything to actually do unless we wanted to like catch a movie, which feels like a waste of time on a vacation.
It'd be such a wild thing. It'd be like, hey, so guys, I'm going to England. Yeah, so on Saturday there's AEW's All In Wembley, but I think Friday I'm just gonna go catch a movie.
Yeah, like it's a feels bad moment, right?
Yeah.
Then there was a hatchet throwing thing, which my brain went, kind of amusing. Axe murderer place, we can go to a hatchet throwing place. But also, I don't trust my sister to be that coordinated around a sharp object.
Fair enough.
So I did not mention it. So instead, her husband found a place. Didn't tell us where we started driving. We got on the highway, interstate. I don't remember which one it was. We drove for a while, and then a while longer, a little bit longer. And just as we were getting into Plymouth, it started to rain. But we were already there, and he'd already had his plan in place. Now, I'd like to point out that this was the day where I was like, cool, we're not really doing anything. I can just wear comfy clothes. So I was wearing joggers, a flannel, and my canvas shoes. Because I'd been wearing boots the past 3 days in Salem because it was rainy, and also they went with my Halloween outfit I had to wear. Because I had to because my sister forced me. So I was like, comfy clothes, it'll be great. I don't have to worry about being outside or getting wet or anything. It's not really supposed to be rainy because it wasn't supposed to be raining in Fall River. So we get to Plymouth and look, we're going to Plymouth Rock. We're going to see the Mayflower 2, which is a 1-to-1 recreation of the Mayflower. Let's park and get out now into this wet, cold rain that is being made colder by the wind blowing in off the Atlantic. And then we're going to walk down as close to it as we can get to the Mayflower 2. Not actually get on it or get a great view of it because it's closed. And then we're going to walk even farther down to this rock that just has the year carved into it. Yay. Yeah.
You know, looking at a map, I'm really surprised that Fall River is in Massachusetts. and not in Rhode Island?
Rhode Island has nothing in it, man. Rhode Island's a joke. We drove through Rhode Island in no time.
Because Rhode Island is the capital of Rhode Island is 22 minutes away from Fall River.
Yeah, Providence.
And in my brain, if you're 22 minutes from the capital of a state, you're still in that state. There's no way you're not.
Fall River is literally down like right on the border of Rhode Island.
That's insane. It's so close.
Yeah. And it was fine. Like, it wasn't bad. The Mayflower 2 was obviously cooler than a rock with some numbers carved into it. And even then, it was a recreation. But, like, it wasn't a bad time. We then went and got food.
It's a recreation because when you're settling places, you
use all the material you can.
Yeah, you take your boat and you turn it into houses.
Actually, I'm pretty sure when you're arriving in places, whether it be to settle or, I don't know, conquer the native people, to stop other people from getting angry that you decide to set up towns when that's not in your province and it's in the province of the governor above you. Instead, you have one of your men drill holes in the bottom of your ship. That way you can claim the boats have rot and worms and such. So they need to be scuttled. So then you take off the mast and all the sails and everything important and hoard them in your new fort you've built. And then you scuttle those ships despite popular belief being that you set them on fire and declare to your men that there is no going home. So you have to invade the Mexica people.
That's such a wild thing to do. Who would do that?
Hernan Cortez. That's who.
Who would do such a thing? Imagine.
Do I know why I went off on that title rant? I honestly don't.
So, how was the New England experience in general? Like,
not bad.
You had fresh lobster.
I
right?
did.
How was that?
I mean, it was good. I like lobster.
I've never been a fan, but I would
just
try it if I was in New England.
Yeah, it was just fresher lobster at a cheaper price point than I could eat it here.
Fair enough.
I didn't eat nearly as much as our sister did. I got one lobster roll because I was like, lobster roll, had that. And then I was like, and now I'm going to work my way through all of the meats. So I had lobster, and then I had pork, and then I had beef and whatever.
But it was a good time?
Yeah, not bad.
Cool.
I got a neat hat.
Yeah, you got a neat hat. I got some cool socks that my sister got me. Satanic Temple socks.
Yeah.
You got a neat sweater.
Yeah, about a friend, an ammonite fossil.
And I got a TST candle. That was nice of you.
I bet the listeners can't guess who got an ammonite fossil.
Was it the guest from the previous episode who really likes dinosaurs?
No, because it's not a dinosaur.
I mean, he really likes fossils in general.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Anything else you have before I go into my last topic? It's been 2 months. You have to have stuff.
I did. I just talked for like 20 minutes.
Okay. My last thing is Marvel Snap. Our friend Chris got me back into the game. I started roughly just after it came out, and then I was like, this game's okay. Back then, it didn't have like a competitive scene. There wasn't quite like a ladder for like grinding and so on and so forth. Got me back into it. I've been playing the absolute hell out of it. Other than Borderlands 2, which we played with Chris and our friend Hunter a while back.
Yeah, we did do that.
A little bit of Fallout New Vegas I played. Marvel Snap's the only video game I've been playing.
I mean, I guess I've been playing more Solitaire lately, but that's just to eat downtime at work.
I managed to break into Infinite last month, which was cool as fuck. My first month like back to actually playing the game, broke into Infinite, which is like the top ranks. I never got really high in Infinite. I think my peak rank was 109,000 and change. Except I do have a screenshot that says I was ranked 0 at one point, so, best in the world.
Weak numbers.
But Marvel Snap is a great mobile card game, specifically because
it's so short. Like, that's the thing that, even as a person that doesn't play it, appeals to me, because it means if I'm like, hey, can you do this thing? And it's just like, let me finish this game, you're not waiting fucking 15 minutes, a few minutes at most.
If both players play Daredevil, well, only the first Daredevil would proc. So if you play Daredevil and Kang, that will add 2 minutes onto a game, which means that the max length a game can go is 9 minutes.
Well, like, I don't know, like, Kang feels kind of questionable because, apparently there's some issues with Jonathan Majors, so I'm not sure if Marvel's going in the direction of Kang or not. However, if they do, it's the easiest thing to fix because they did introduce him in the show where they introduced that there were indeed multiple variants of people.
Yeah, and also Kang typically has a blue face, so it doesn't really...
Yeah, and also it's very easy to be like, no, you meant the good version. Here's this alternate version who's going to kill you all.
Yeah.
I understand that there was a completely divergence. I just wanted to make a comment.
Kang, when you play Kang, he resets the turn for you, not your opponent. So you get to play the turn again with knowledge of what your opponent did.
Yeah, because you're Kang.
But you don't have Kang anymore. He disappears forever.
Fair.
So
it is like the MCU is going to be.
And Daredevil will just let you see what your opponent does on turn 5 before you play your turn. So
honestly, kind of powerful.
If they take a full minute and you take a full minute, it adds a minute to the game.
Yeah.
Kang can add up to a minute because it gives you a second turn 5 or turn 6. And then Magic adds a turn 7 to the game. So the longest a game can go is 9 minutes. Typically games are like less than 6 though.
Yeah, that's not bad at all though.
You can play most matches in under 5 minutes.
That's about how long it takes me to play a game of Solitaire normally.
It's like snappy quick. It's very good. I enjoy it.
I say that and it's actually more like 3 minutes, but I round it up.
Oh, do you just give up?
No, not normally. I'm actually fairly good at the game, but I also play Spider Solitaire, so it's kind of obvious when you're fucked most of the time.
Fair enough.
So,
but yeah, I think that's all I have.
The mentioning of the Almanite thing did remind me of another place I saw in Salem, which was pretty neat.
Oh yes,
Called Black Cat Curio Shop, which if you're ever in Salem, like check it out. It's kind of neat. They have a bunch of actual props from things and then a bunch of reproductions. So there's just some really cool shit to see. Like one of the Obi-Wan props, one of the Obi-Wan lightsaber props. It didn't say from which one, but the general rule that they supplied when going in was if it has a placard next to it describing the item, it's a genuine prop. And it did have one. It just didn't say which one it was from. I assume maybe on the back of the placard it said or whatever.
Maybe. I do have a question about those. Are the actual replicas for sale?
I did not ask. That seemed like something I would not be able to afford. And I knew if I asked, my heart would want it more.
Well, sometimes sometimes the actual props are not that expensive. I assume for Star Wars stuff, it's all insanely expensive.
Or the TCRI ooze container.
Yeah. Oh god, I would love
or the
TSR.
fucking proton pack.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember the proton pack had a placard or not, but
yeah.
And they had some really cool recreations of things. Like they had a recreation of Book from Hocus Pocus, because Hocus Pocus is set in Salem.
And one of the houses from Hocus Pocus is actually a house in Salem.
Yes, which the people do decorate the front to mimic the movie, because it's owned by an actual family. And they don't mind people taking pictures. They obviously have like, don't fucking walk up and bother us though.
Yeah.
But, like you can take some pictures in front of it and stuff. I did learn a fact that I don't remember what it goes with it, but apparently its staircase has been used in multiple films, like some pretty well-known films, but I don't fucking remember what they were. And also, supposedly, according to the tour, we did not go on a tour, but I walked past one. Supposedly, the brother in the movie, Max, was supposed to be played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
But instead, he was doing a better movie.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Exactly.
Honestly, if you have a choice between being in a Disney Channel original movie, or did Hocus Pocus get a theatrical release?
I think Hocus Pocus got a theatrical release, but I might be wrong.
I'm not gonna worry about Googling it
I
right
don't
now.
give a fuck.
But if that's your choice versus, I guess maybe the Disney movie is reliably of the same quality every time.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe taking an unreliable film is less. Anyways, What's Eating Gilbert Grape is fantastic. He should have won. Him and Depp both should have won Oscars for that. Like, that should have been the one that like...
It's a fantastic movie. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do.
Apparently, it's based on a book.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there is some uncomfortable, like, characterization of some things in that movie.
Yes.
And, like, uncomfortable language, given the fact that DiCaprio does play a character who is not neurotypical.
And it's from almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. But I would say, overall, it is still a good film.
It's a fantastic movie. But yeah, that's all I got for this Cockpit. How about you?
There was a common writer in Salem. I didn't see him, but I saw him a picture that my sister posted on her Instagram in the background of one of her pictures.
Is that it then?
Yep.
All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, let us know what you did for your Halloween. I sat at home. I sat at home and did absolutely nothing.
I dressed up like a bully from a Power Rangers franchise.
Actually, I had work and then sat at home and did absolutely nothing. But if you want to let us know what you did for your Halloween, or if you've done anything cool lately, or if you're enjoying Marvel Snap, which is actually probably one of the best places it's been as far as game-wise goes, you can hit us up in a myriad of ways, specifically on the app that has been and will continually be known as Twitter forever, despite the egotistical owner's attempt to change its name. And on Twitter, we are at Copilots Review.
You can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can find both of those on our website at copilotsreview.simplecast.com, which also has links to our Discord, our YouTube, and our Patreon, where you can pay us money to get no additional content.
I mean, there's like 3 things that are on there.
Yes.
And technically content we're supposed to be making for it, but there's no one there, so it doesn't matter.
That's the harsh truth of it. Anyways, thanks for joining us in the Cockpit for this month, and we'll see you with a new episode on the 22nd. So we'll see you then for that flight.